This is DownHome Sports, covering the best sports and student athletes in Ellis County. Brought to you by Pinnacle Bank with ATM Live, powered by the people. Not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank.
Hey, Ellis County, guess what? We're going to go a little renaissance on you tonight. We got Coach Josh Sooter here, and he's been with Midlothian for over 10 years, had 4 other years in another place, but one of the most unique coaches that we have here in Ellis County from the perspective of all the things that he's done. Coach, just talk about, when you were growing up, what made you get into both arts and athletics?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I could always draw growing up. So that's just something that was natural it was just natural, and growing up, I always just loved sports. In summertime, we played baseball. In fall, we played football. In wintertime, we played basketball. So, that's really it. Nothing too profound.
Okay. Was there anybody that actually fostered that ability to go into art, or, one of the coaches, maybe a Pee Wee coach or somebody that inspired you to play, football to the level that you ended up at?
With art, I had a very good, I had some good art teachers growing up, but it wasn't really, anything that was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. At one point, I think I was going to, do communications, major in that. And then just something changed. And it was like, what are you going to major in? So I was like, well, I guess art. So, that's kind of the way that route went.
Gotcha.
That's
well, that's good, man. So you start out as a tight end, right? And
yes, in
go ahead.
College of the Desert in Palm Desert, California.
So what makes you, when you transfer, is that just a coaching decision? They just thought you had the skill sets to play on the defense side of the ball at Tech, or?
When I only did one semester in California, I decided to leave after a semester, and that decision's kind of haunted me forever. I should have stuck it out for the 2 years, but I got a little cocky since I was the only freshman to start every game, and I didn't need to go to a JUCO academically, but they said, hey, you're going to play tight end. I was like, all right, let's do it. So I unfortunately left, and I was playing just trying to find a place to play after. I almost ended up at KU. Then at the last minute, I talked to Coach Holgerson, and he was like, no, we think you can play here. So I ended up walking on up there, but between walk on and I was playing pickup basketball, broke my foot in the spring. So pretty much all summer I was on crutches. And then at Tech, we walked on in the spring. But at that point, I was like 250, and I gained weight because I was on crutches the whole summer, couldn't do anything. So at that point, Tech was kind of phasing out a tight end. Coach Leach, they didn't really have a true tight end anymore. So when I walked on, they had me at offensive line. Those guys were big. As big as I am, they still had 3 inches and 75 pounds on me. So, I ended up moving to defense and, played D-line till had a couple shoulder surgeries, and that was it.
Wow. And then you went on and you were with Fairbanks Grizzlies, correct?
Yes,
in
sir.
arena football. But talk about that, and just, everybody wants to extend their career as long as you can play, right? Talk about
Pretty
that
much.
And just the transfer of, what happens in that process.
Well, I kind of fell into that. I graduated, was just kind of floating around. I moved up to Pullman, Washington, because my brother's friend needed a roommate and I had nothing to do. Spent some time up there. moved back to DFW. I mean, I was just bartending and working out, and that's all I was doing. And I got back in shape. And I saw an ad for this arena team that was going to try to start up in Fort Worth. So I was like, well, I got nothing to lose. So I went and tried out. I got to know some guys around there. That team never got off the ground, but I got to know people, coaches and stuff like that. So that year the Fairbanks Grizzlies started, they actually, all the away games were pretty much in Texas. So they'd come down to Texas and sometimes they wouldn't have a full squad. So they got a hold of one of the coaches and asked if he knew anybody, and they gave him my name. So my first game was actually in Frisco against the Frisco Thunder, and went down to Corpus Christi the next weekend and flew back up to Alaska with them.
That's pretty darn cool right there, man. That is pretty cool. But how does that propel you into coaching with all that experience? How do you take all that stuff and apply it to these high school kids?
I think a lot is to just never quit. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen to your body when you're in 8th grade, going into freshman year, senior year, anything like that. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I was B team all through 8th grade, 7th grade, I was B team. Freshman year, I was B team. Sophomore year, I was on JV, didn't play for 3 games. They moved me down to the sophomore team. Pretty much started every game. Junior year, I was starting by the end of the season. Well, I played tight end and tackle, so I would play. But by the end of the season, I was starting. In my senior year, I just never came out of the game. So, and then obviously just college ball. I mean,
yeah.
As bad as it sounds, my high school coach told me if I wanted to continue playing football, go Division III.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't a good enough answer to me. So
a little obstinate, huh?
Yeah.
There we go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But the whole time you're doing all these things, are you still drawing, or did you take a break? Do you come back to it?
I mean, I was still drawing all through. I mean, all through the whole time. I was AP art about 4 years in high school. That year and that semester in California, I actually didn't have any art classes, but I still pretty much drew my little sketchbook at the house. Then obviously transferring to tech, I started taking the art classes, but I don't think I would eventually not been able to play at tech just because of the hours in my major. By your 3rd year, you have to have X amount of your degree done, and that wouldn't have happened because I had like 156 hours for art education. I mean, some engineers didn't even have over 100. So it was horribly long, and some of the like 5 classes were all prerequisites. So, and they didn't offer summer classes for art. So if I never got injured, I would eventually just either had to change majors or just stop playing football.
Well, when you draw the comparisons between being an art teacher and being a football coach, is it not 90% just about inspiration on either side?
Yes and no. I mean, I have some students that I can give them assignments and they'll go and and do things I wouldn't even think of. And I have others that, kind of, have to be told what to do.
Okay.
So, but I mean, really teaching art and coaching are kind of along the same things. The more you do, the better you're going to be. I mean, the more you practice a certain skill, you're going to get better. So I try to keep them busy with enough assignments that correlate to one another to where they can see that skill grow throughout the semester, throughout the school year.
Well, what's your favorite art medium?
I mean, probably pencil. I mean, just because when you don't have any money growing up, pencil and paper's free.
They're cheap.
So
best thing I ever did was a flip book. Okay. That's about the only thing. But Coach, you build up to this year. You've been a part of some great offensive lines. I've seen you get a lot of things out of a lot of kids that nobody knew that was in them, and this year you got 5 or 6 guys that are just ready to tear some heads off. Talk about this year's line over at MHS and just the maturization of where the programs come and how you've gotten this together and these kids buying into the systems.
I don't think I could take much credit for it, honestly. I think Coach Wendell does a great job as head coach, getting middle school lined up with the high school, just in everything that we do. But I mean, this group of D-line's a little different this year. It's definitely special. We haven't had anything like that in the last 10 years. I mean, since I've been there, this will be year 11 now for football.
Yeah.
And we have not had a D-line like this at all. I mean, we've had some good ones. I mean, don't get me wrong. We had, Nick Pollard, Caleb Tompkins, Hodges played a little defense, Jacob Lindley, little Mighty Might. We had some good ones, but this is probably the most complete, I would say, from outside in.
That's pretty awesome. Well, go ahead.
I don't really see a weak. I mean, I really don't see a weak spot. I mean,
and that's hard for a coach to say, right?
Yes, very hard. I want to keep them level-headed, but
yeah.
They're good.
Well, and I can see a little bit more than most people just from up in the stands and stuff when I'm calling the games. But family is a lot. And you got your 2 boys, pictures right there behind you. And what does it mean to you to have them around these young men that you're instilling things that last them a lifetime, and them getting it reaffirmed from their favorite players, et cetera?
I mean, honestly, that was probably my last season when we had the whole D-line over to the house. That was probably my favorite day of that year, just to watch them, Coach Irwin's kids too. I mean, they went outside and they played football and they loved every minute of it. He just wants to hang out with my guys, with my boys. That's what he calls them. Connor calls the D-line my boys. So
that's pretty awesome.
He just wants to hang out with his boys. But like if ever I take him up to the field house, he's so shy around them though. It's funny. But like the next day, I was picking him up from daycare because it was bye week, I think. So I was able to pick him up. And he goes, "Are my friends going to be there tonight?" I'm like,
"There you go.
Sorry, buddy, not tonight." But yeah, no, that was like the best day of that season, was just watching them interact with my kids and my kids loving every minute of it.
That's cool. Well, you also coach soccer, so let's not forget about that. What is it about soccer that you love so much? Because it seems like you built a little bit of a passion for it.
I don't know. I think it might be because it's the complete opposite of football. I can't do anything to dictate the game. I just kind of got to let it happen. I can sub players in and out, but really, I mean, I can't call a timeout. I can't call, a play or, a defense or anything like that, So during the week, I'll coach them up and whatnot, but game day, it's just kind of sit back and watch them play.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Well, let's talk about, for 1 second here before we get done here, as a coach, and all the stuff that you've accomplished in your life, you've always had support for it. And I know your wife, Kelly, is right there for you through all this. What does it mean to have that family unit that understands the coaching requirements and everything like that and just backs you all the way like your parents did when you were playing football?
Well, it probably helps. I was coaching when we started dating.
Yeah, okay.
So it probably helps that aspect. But, I mean, she knows I love football. She knows, kind of what – that life entails. And it also helps when her best friends are now the other coaches' wives and stuff like that. So, there is a family that is introduced within that field house, not just with the family within our house, but in the field house. And, so that helps a lot of it. But no, she's a good sport, and I'm undeserving of her 99% of the time.
Well, I can tell you right now, my wife just gets agitated, tells me go play with my friends, get on out of the house, get away from her. But no, I mean, I've gotten to know your family a little bit, and folks, I'm just going to tell you, one of the nicest guys in the world right here. Cares about his students, cares about his players, and definitely cares about his family more so than anything else. And Coach, I just want to thank you for all the great stuff that you've done over on this side of the county and at Midlothian High School, and that you're going to continue to do. But we appreciate you so much. And I just want to get a little bit of your story out, folks. And yeah, I'm going to put some pictures up during this so y'all can see some of his artwork. It's pretty darn good. He does have a Twitter account where if you want to go see his artwork, you can definitely do that. And go check it out, folks. You might be surprised, and we might have to have a gallery show on one day around here somewhere. Coach, thank you for your time, okay?
Appreciate it.
In Ellis County, we're always on the run. It's always good to know that someone's always there. Doesn't matter the time of day. With ATM Live, hours are always available. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can always pull right up and talk to someone live for that personal service. Or stop by and visit with the friendly folks inside. Pinnacle Bank, not just another bank in Texas, but Texas in a bank. Member FDIC.
Hey, Ellis County. It's Tater Beard over here with DownHome Sports. Tonight will be our last vocation. And we just want to thank some people out there. The good folks at DownHome, Amy, Jackson, Kevin, Bob, just some amazing people to put this. This is Bob's vision of starting something that's positive for our county. And those other people I mentioned, they have executed that vision to the fullest of its extent. Make sure you go check out the rest of the content if you don't mind. We want to thank our videographers, Leslie Norris, Madison, Juan. They're numerous. We can't thank them enough for all their detail, all their great shots that provided you highlights throughout the season during the high school year. Then I want to thank my buddy, my partner in crime, Seth Sims. One of the better guys I'll ever probably get to know. Seth, I love you, man. And we couldn't have got this started or done without you. And I hope you realize that, and there's not enough words for you, bud. We want to thank the coaches, the players, the trainers, the ADs. I mean, everybody from powerlifting to basketball, from volleyball to football, softball, baseball, skeet shooting, bass fishing, and the list goes on and on and on with the amount of activities these kids and coaches are pursuing. And, we look at all the things in the state champions that have come out this past 2 years from Ellis County. There's so many good opportunities for these kids, and it's going to provide them with a lifetime of experience and knowledge that'll help them make it through it. We want to thank each and every person that came on and letting us just be a little part in telling your story. Last thing I'm going to say is go out there and be good. Follow these kids, go to the games, no matter what sport it is. Encourage them. Encourage all the students in each one of our ISDs in Ellis County. They have programs such as CTE. These kids do more stuff than anybody will ever know. But encourage them. That's what we're going to ask. And we hope that you got from this show as well. And they got that as well. Folks, we appreciate all your time. We appreciate y'all being a part of it. And Good night, Ellis County.